Well guys, it's Friday. That means we're going over to pick up the new project car. There she is once again, or there they are, I should say. We'll get this thing backed up, get it over to Canada, and we can take a closer look at it to see what kind of a challenge we're up against. So because we're crossing international borders, I've got to make sure I go through this car, check for contraband. We did find some roaches in the ashtray. We threw them out when we bought the car, but I just want to make sure there's nothing else. Worst thing in the world is getting pulled over by Canada Customs or US Customs for something stupid like that that you just forgot. Takes a few minutes, let's check it out. So the biggest thing we want to be checking for is things like these doob tubes. We want to get rid of that. I'm going to check the ashtray or the glove box. There's all kinds of mouse poops, I guess. I thought maybe it was tobacco or something like that. We just don't want anything that's gonna get us in trouble. When you come home, come over to Graham's. So Junior, maybe you can get a shot underneath the seat there, make sure there's nothing underneath that seat. Kind of hard to see. Afraid to stick my hands in there. Might touch a dead mouse. What's that? I don't know. But Artesian certified cannabis. Yep, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I don't know how hard they're going to check, but I just don't want to find out the hard way. It's starting to rain, so that makes our job a little more difficult. It's raining pretty hard. Yeah. You see anything back under there?
Just a jar.
Grab that mason jar. I don't know what it was.
Put all that junk in there.
Yeah, it's had tobacco or something in it.
There's some tools, screwdriver, lighter. We should probably get rid of the lighter.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to open. That's rusted shut.
In the trunk?
I can't get the trunk open without a battery, but we did look through there when we were looking at the car. I didn't see anything to worry about. There's a couple things in that front we're going to throw in the dumpster, and then we'll head over to the US Customs to do our paperwork there and then cross the border. So let's get to it. I'd say we got that done just in time. She's opened up pretty good, so let's get on the road. We're just about ready to cross the border here, hit the US Customs. We're going to stop there and pick up some paperwork before we actually leave the US and go into Canada. I've had a few people reach out to me asking me what kind of a job it is to actually import a car into Canada from the US, and that prompted me to want to do a video about that. So if you guys stay tuned, I will do a video kind of giving you the ins and outs of what it's going to take to do a vehicle export from Canada into the US. And there's a few tips and tricks that I've learned the handful of times that I've done it, and as of most recently today, that the rules are changing all the time, so you really got to educate yourself and do your homework. So anyways, I'm getting ready to pull in here, so let's get rolling. So that was pretty painless. We got our stamp on our title that shows it's approved for export. And now we can head to Canada Customs and do our actual import. So off we go. So far, everything's going pretty good. We're getting paperwork filled out. I forgot to take a picture of the VIN, the manufacturer's tag on the inside of the door jamb. So luckily the rain has stopped. So he had asked me to run out and grab that. So I'm doing that now. We'll get that back into him and get our taxes paid and get on our way. Well, there, that wasn't too bad. The officer was very nice. I didn't get his name, but if you're watching, thank you. Very professional, very friendly, and just exactly what you'd expect from somebody who is a ambassador to the country that you live in. When tourists are coming in or people from other countries are coming in, you want that first impression to be great, and he was. He was actually pretty excited, I think, to come out and take a look at the car. So when we got out, you know, of course I got to look through it anyways, make sure there's no contraband, this and that. But anyways, looked through the car and he was pretty impressed with what he saw. So you know what, we might be able to make something out of this car after all. Anyways, I'm hungry, time to grab something to eat, and we'll get this thing unloaded at the house. Maybe we'll wait until it stops raining first. Well, there, we made it home. At least we'll keep it on the trailer for a little while, and when this rain stops, we'll get it unloaded and get the shop up in the air. So we can do something about the battery and about that fuel system. Yep, it's the next day. And she's freaking cold out, guys. It's like minus 13, a little bit of a breeze, which is like 9. Yeah, thanks for the conversion. She's chilly. But we got to get the car cleaned off, get it over the shop, get it up in the air, and we can finish up this video and show you guys exactly. Hey, do you mind? Show you exactly what this car is all about, and we'll talk about our future plans for the car. So let's get it cleaned off and get it over there. All right, so we've got the car and trailer switched around. We had it pointing in one direction. We've turned it around so that the sun will melt the snow and the ice off it. We had a little bit of an ice storm last night. So look, it's all cleaned off. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it unstrapped. We've got to get that left front wheel off the car just so that we can put the spare tire on it, roll it down the trailer, and get it inside the garage. So Junior's gonna come over and give me a hand with that. We've also got a flat tire back here. We'll have to pump that up so that we can push it inside so it's easier pushing. So anyways, we're gonna get it unstrapped, get it off the trailer, get it inside so we can all take a look underneath. My breath here. For all you guys in the last video who said, why didn't you just put the spare tire on it? Well, this is why. With the spare tire, it still won't roll past that and let the other tire roll past. I just tried to prove that some of you guys might have been right, and we tried rolling it. It's bumping up against the fender here, not just on this side, but still on the other side. So Junior's getting the the Milwaukee, and I've got this spare tire that I've been using for Grandma. Compact spare. It's aluminum too. It's even got Ford stamped right into it. I think come out of the Lincoln, Junior's Lincoln. Anyways, we're gonna put this on this, and hopefully between the two, we should be able to roll it off. And if not, well, then we're right back to where we rolled it up on the jack. So anyways, Junior's gonna get this changed out. So what we found was that because this rim is off of an 02 and older style Panther platform, the different suspension, it doesn't fit. The bolt pattern fits, but it doesn't fit on the hub without rubbing up against the caliper. So we found a couple of nuts, put them on there, and just put 2 lug nuts on there. It's kind of sketch, but like I said, we're not going that far off the trailer into the garage. So we're not going that far, guys. Once again, cue the music. Well, we brought this thing in here. Junior wanted me to start it up so he could get a Snapchat or something like that, send to his friends. And there's the transmission fluid that seems to be leaking. Yeah, I say cooler lines right in there. Right where that little piece of, that little isolator is, I would say. But there's our headers coming down. I hope I never ever have to change the starter on this thing. But we come down, headers all the way back to an X pipe, and right around here somewhere there's supposed to be a muffler. There's just a piece of aluminized pipe, but there is mufflers in the trunk. We may put those on. And yeah, we can take a pretty good look at how crusty this thing is. She's crusty and she's dry, and we've got twigs hanging out of it. So this bracket here where the tank strap there's no strap. Like, the strap is Bluetooth. And over here, well, same thing. And people would say, you know, Jason, wouldn't you be worried that the gas tank would fall out? Well, I guarantee you they don't jump out of these things by themselves. Junior's had to replace one on his car, and they're a tight fit, aren't they? Oh, yeah. So we got no tank strap, so that's just kind of there, but this is fuel. This is fuel that was leaking out of here. When we go back to the first video, we dumped a gallon of gas in it. Well, it just started dripping out of this corner here. So it needs a gas tank. We do know that for sure. This rear cross member here has been bent. She's a little bit crusty up in there. We've already seen that. That swelled up pretty good. No holes though. I thought there was holes in it earlier, but she's dry. Got an aftermarket trick flow diff cover. The diff tag is gone. We'll have to check the VIN plate to see what the axle code is. It should be a track lock, probably a 327 or maybe 355 or something like that. It's got the aluminum drive shaft.
Bluetooth rocker panels.
Yeah, I guess we knew that. Bluetooth rocker panels pretty much the whole way through. Well, there's a little bit right there. We might be able to salvage that. But the inner rockers are still there, which is a bonus. That gives us something to work with. Yeah. Floor, that's what I wanted to show you. The floor here is, yeah, she's, I'd have to get a hammer and start tapping on it, but she's still looks pretty solid there. This side, just like new. Still got paint on the floor.
This side must have been sitting in the dirt or something.
Yeah, might have been sitting down low. Well, yeah, because this tire was flat, wasn't it?
Yes, it was sitting in the dirt.
So it might have been sitting down close to the dirt, close to the grass and moisture.
This exhaust system was in good shape.
It is, well, it's stainless. So these are aluminized pipes, which again, if I'm gonna run the car, I'll take these pipes out and put those mufflers back in, because
What mufflers did it come with?
I don't know. whatever this kit was. You know, I'm not 23 years old anymore, so I don't like that loud, snappy stuff. Fuel lines all still look good. We got a spot right here. She's a little crusty. Up in here. That Ryan? Yeah. Brakes, front end suspension felt good when I wiggled it. The brakes looked like they had lots of meat on the pads. Control arms on this are stamped steel. And I think on Grandma, I think they're aluminum.
I think they're aluminum on too.
So that's different.
Different on the base package.
Yeah. Anyways, we do have to get that transmission cooler lines. We got to get those fixed because it's leaving a puddle and I'm dragging this extension cord through it. But she's dry. I think it can be fixed. If I was going to buy this car and everything else was good, you know, this is the first thing I'd look at is the frame and the cross members and everything and say, you know, would I let my teenage son or daughter out in something like this? I'd say yes. It still looks pretty solid. Needs a good oiling and a good cleaning. We'll get those rocker panels fixed. Yeah.
Ground straps hanging over
Yeah.
here. Don't look too bad. It looks worse than it actually is.
Yeah, like I said, those rockers, the inside rockers are still there. So that gives you something to weld to. It's when you get up into here where the fender mounts. Fender's rusty, you can tell by that.
Even the backing plates back here.
Looks like someone's repaired that spot once before, and it's common. These doors stick out just a little bit further than the fender, and all the sandblasting from the tires goes up and chips that off. Same thing back here on this dog leg. The body panels, if they weren't lined up, this just sticks out a hair past the door, and rocks from the tires come up and get that. So I guess it's not that bad. It's, I mean, it all can be fixed. And, you know, we're gonna have to talk about what my plans initially were for it and what my plans potentially might be for it. So anyways, let's get this thing down and go from there. So I guess ultimately what we've got to consider is cost. And we know what we paid for it. It cost me $200 in tax at the border to import it, and you got to convert the $1,300 into Canadian dollars as well. So looking at the rocker panels, I can do the rocker panels myself, get those done up in materials, and you don't have to really paint them as long as they're covered and treated. I mean, let's chalk it up to $100 in materials. It's going to need a gas tank. There's an expense right there. My cost on a gas tank through our local parts store is almost $400, but I think I might be able to find something elsewhere. I know I've seen a few on eBay for like $160 American shipped. You're still looking at about $250, $260 Canadian. So, I'm gonna need straps, so there's another 20 or 30 bucks. So if I had $2,500 tied up into this car, Canadian, when everything's all said and done and the rockers are fixed, I'm probably gonna have to put rotors on it. The rotors are very, very rusty, even though they have, you know, they're a good surface. They look like they've been replaced recently. It's been sitting. You could probably have them turned. That might be an option too, have them turned at an expense. Brakes were all good. I don't know about the emergency brake, the parking brakes, but to pass inspection and to get out and drive this thing, the cooler line, we gotta get those fixed. Transmission fluid, there's an expense. I mean, that stuff's like $12 a liter or a quart nowadays, so get that fixed up. The thing we didn't know about this car was two. One, transmission. We don't know if it goes forward or back because of the cooler lines, and we gotta get that line fixed before we can do that. But two, we don't 100% know the mileage. It was advertised as 155,000 miles. So we've got the OBD2 plugged in. Let's take a look and see if it tells us how many miles are on this car. All right, so once we finally found out how to get in there, we found that this car has 154,712 miles. So basically as advertised. I'm pretty impressed with that. And he did say that the check engine light was on. It wasn't on when we get the battery hooked up to it because obviously disconnecting the battery for a length of time will reset it. So ultimately what we wanted to do with this thing was we wanted to be able to buy it, fix it up, and flip it. I mean, it's going to require a little more work and a little more time that I really wasn't anticipating, but because I feel like I got a good price out of it. I know some of you guys didn't in the last video telling me that I overpaid for it. But here's a couple of things to keep in mind. You could part one of these cars out and make all your money back and then some, because there's still lots of good parts on this car. There's always guys out there who are collecting Panthers or driving Panthers. They want that P71 rear taillight sections. The wheels, those are off apparently of an older Crown Vic or older style car. So some people are looking for those. We've got seats. The back seats don't look like they've ever been sat in. We could sell those. The rear diff, it's a track lock, we think. We're gonna check the codes on it. But I had to pay, you know, $200-300 for the ones that I bought, so I can get money out of that. The exhaust system, we've got a complete stainless steel exhaust with headers, which we looked up, and what did we find, Junior? Those were worth like $1,800 US to buy brand new. So even if you sold it at a quarter of the price used, you could still probably get, you know, $300 or $400 out of it. Engine, transmission, the engines are worth $500 all day long. Transmissions, $250 all day long. Interior pieces, we've got side view mirrors, we've got glass. There's a lot of things in this car that I think we could salvage and make our money back. So remember the other car, the other 2009 Maine State Trooper car that we were looking at trying to get. I still haven't committed to that. He wants a little more for it. We still got to do rocker panels. We still got to replace the fenders and fix it on those, but it is a better optioned car. It's got power seats, it's got cruise control, and I think it's a low mileage car. I don't know what the mileage is, but if I remember correctly, I think it's closer to 100,000 miles. So we could use this as a parts car for that, or we could just simply part this one out, go buy the other one, and flip it once we get it fixed. Anyways, the other option that we could do is, you know, we could strip this thing right down. I could go and I could buy one of those Lifter brand lift kits like I did with Blackjack. We could jack it up, we could strip the doors, we could build a roll cage in it, we could make like a Narcs cart. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm gonna put a link up here so you guys can go check out Mike's Crown Vic that he turned into a kart racer. We can have some fun with this thing, take it out, make it an off-road vehicle, beat through the bush with it, and just have some fun, pound the crap out of it, and make some pretty good videos. We could do that, get our money's worth out of the YouTube videos alone. Anyways, the next video series that we're going to do on this thing is we're going to get it cleaned up. We're going to make it look like $1 million. If you remember, this thing is covered in tree grime. As you can see here, we're going to take the pressure washer. We'll get it all cleaned up. It's all green across the back and you know, down the side. So we're going to get this thing cleaned up. We'll tackle the interior. There is some, you know, mold from sitting. Things were damp. We'll get that cleaned up, shined up, shampoo the seats, wipe everything down. We'll get the rear seats out, make sure there's no more joints or anything like that back there. Get the trunk cleaned out, stuff like that. And we'll treat some of that rust in the trunk floor because we do have that rust converter. We may take at some of the underside of the car with that as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying these videos, these Panther videos. I know as a rule, they generally do better than any other thing that I do on my channel. So I hope that you guys continue to watch these, share them out with your friends, and we're gonna have some fun with this car regardless of whether we keep it for a beater, or we salvage it, or we actually fix it up and try and sell it and make a few bucks on it so we can move on to the next one. Hope you guys are staying focused on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. I love you guys. God bless. Let's do it again in the next video. Just doing video fun. Getting all these fancy shots. Stopping, running back, grabbing the camera, setting up the camera, running back, getting your shot, go past the camera, just to do it all over again. Especially when it feels like zero out here. All right, now we'll do another shot. Man, it's cold out here. you guys are giving this video a thumbs up. It's cold. Make sure you're subscribed too. Do I want to go here? Yeah, well, the sun's on this side. It was at this point that Jason realized It was at this point that Jason realized he forgot the battery.